This Nail Your Messaging video is a follow-up to the Buyer Group Dynamics video. If you haven't already watched that video, make sure that you do, because all of what I'm going to talk about right now is based on the understanding of your buyer group dynamics. In the buyer groups dynamic video, I mentioned that that is probably the most important video out of all 30 of them that are within the Creative B2B Marketing Course. This subject right here, Nail Your Messaging, is the second most important video. And it already assumes that you have put in your homework and you've already become familiar with and built out your frameworks for your buyer group. When you're ready to nail your messaging, you should already have the frameworks and the information about your buyer group personas. You already know who your champion is, your influencers, and your detractors. You have their objectives that you know about their job description or their position within the company, the pain points that they're having within their company, and also their responsibilities. So each one of these different personas is going to require different blocks of information in order to help your deal go faster. The goal here is to accelerate the buying cycle from a 12-month buying cycle down to a 9-month buying cycle, or even a 6-month buying cycle, to accelerate a buying cycle that might be typically 6 months down to 3 months or 2 months. That's our objective here, and this is what works, at least in my experience, with accelerating buying cycles. I have run a lot of different tests and a lot of different scenarios with different companies, and mostly in the high-tech industry throughout the years. And I discovered probably about 10 years ago that there's a type of messaging block that works really well for each one of these buyer group personas. What you'll be doing here is developing what I call a message block for each one of the buyer group personas. And these can overlap, by the way. So if you have 2 or 3 different influencers that have to do with maybe human resource or operations, they're sort of periphery influencers on your deal, you might be able to develop a single message block that works for those different influencers. So there is definitely overlap with the benefits and the features that are going to be appealing to each one of these personas. So be aware that each one of these personas requires a different type of information in order to give their thumbs up on your deal. And that's because they have different job descriptions. Let's dig into that a little bit. Let's say that your champion, again, is maybe the chief marketing officer of an organization. And we'll use the example again of you having some kind of management software similar to Rike or Asana or Monday.com or Hive, one of those things. So you have some kind of software you think is going to be good for an enterprise company, and your deal is maybe it's $100,000 a year to get that software implemented globally throughout all the different offices within the organization. So your client might be someone like General Electric or Bank of America or Hilton Hotels, or something that's an international enterprise that is going to require a buyer group. The objectives of your chief marketing officer are going to be, they want that software to help their department run more quickly and efficiently, and to also help improve culture by not having as many friction points as they might be having right now because of lack of communication, or deadlines are being missed because people aren't aware within the company that they were supposed to review something or communicate with somebody else about the copy that they needed for benefits, features, things like that. And it's a pretty typical problem for the marketing to have frustrations with other parts of the company. And what can help resolve that is the management software. Your champion here is looking at the benefits of your solution And they're very appealing to that person, and they are going to champion your solution to the other members within the buyer group to help to persuade them, to influence them to go for your deal. Now that's a lot of weight. It's a lot of responsibility to expect this person inside this company over a span of 6 months or 8 months, whatever it is, to keep all of their colleagues on board with your solution. You're asking a lot of them to do your selling for you, okay? What we're going to do is build a branded ecosystem that helps this champion exponentially, helps their deal happen that they want, the solution that they want to get. And it helps the whole process here. And it also takes the pressure off of your own salespeople within your company. To expect one salesperson to be able to influence 8 people over the course of several months is a very difficult job. And in my opinion, it's a little unrealistic. But that's the way we've been doing it, right? This marketing strategy helps that situation out significantly. Here. Now that you understand the objectives, the pain points, and the responsibilities of each of your buyer group personas here, you're going to be mapping your company's benefits and features to those pain points for each one of these people, and also to their objectives and to their requirements for information. And I started talking about the chief marketing officer for their type of information that they want to get. Now you can put this information on the website, on ads that they see, on different types of content. We'll talk about the content in just a minute here. But your detractors, they're looking for very different information than your champion is. Your detractors don't give a rat's ass that your management software improves their productivity by 20% or helps improve the culture with better communication or whatever. Let's say your detractor is an IT person, and their main concern about this software is that it's going to create a security problem on your network for your company, especially if there's a global enterprise with thousands of different computers that talk to each other and whatnot. So the detractor is going to be thinking, what does the security of this look like? What certifications does the company have? Can you show me a diagram of your firewalls and your different cybersecurity software that you use for your cloud computing or whatever your environment is, okay? When you are creating your content blocks here for each one of these personas, that information needs to be easy for them to find and needs to show up at a really good time within their journey. You're going to spend most of your budget on your top of funnel budget is going to be for your champion. That's going to be for your outreach strategies, such as your website, your trade show, ads that you're running on LinkedIn or Google, videos that you've developed. Any top of funnel type of content will have the benefits and features that are appealing to your champion. You don't want to waste money trying to develop a communications platform or to develop materials for a detractor at the top of funnel. Your detractor doesn't care about this solution right now. They only care is this deal starts to move farther and farther down the tunnel, and say your company makes the short list, you're one of the top 3 or 4 companies being considered, and then you're one of the top 2, and then you're getting close to being number 1, and your salespeople are getting excited, and you're having the meetings are going well and going back and forth. That's when the detractors come in. And like I said, an IT person is going to be looking for information that is specific to their job description. Another type of detractor might be chief financial officer, some kind of financial director within the company. They're going to want justification, financial justification for the spend that is happening. So your messaging blocks for each one of these personas needs to speak their language. For a financial person, for example, you might be able to do a block of information on your website that's in a FAQ section, or maybe a sheet that is downloaded specifically. And it might be something like, well, our management software helps departments be 20% more effective if you spread that over a 5-person, 10-person department. That's so many hours per month, so many hours per year. This software basically pays for itself after 1 year of use. By the time you average out the salaries for 5 different people and the efficiencies that the software creates, now you're speaking the financial language of the detractor. So you've developed specific information for that person. That's the concept here. Now, your message block should have a very specific format, and I go into depth on this on the course, the Nail Your Messaging course in the Creative B2B Marketing Course, but I'll just touch on it really quickly here. This specific type of structure for this messaging has been tested over and over again, and I've tested it. I discovered this probably about 10 years ago and started using it then as a really good method and structure for conversions, website conversions. You want to start conversations, right? You want to get a demo happening, a one-on-one presentation, a live Zoom call, that type of thing. And this type of structure really helps facilitate that. Also, by the way, more recently, we have discovered, marketing people have discovered, and I've recently read a HubSpot survey about this, a whole HubSpot report. Actually, it's a training on AEO training, okay? So AI search engines are finding that this structure works really well for searchability, for AI. And what that structure is, number one, you have a headline, a benefit-oriented headline. It's typically, it can be as short as 2 words, maybe as long as 7 words, somewhere in there. You have a subhead. The subhead can be longer, maybe 8 words, 12 words with a subhead that expands on the headline. Then you have a paragraph. It's a short paragraph, maybe 2 sentences, 3 sentences that expand on what your solution is all about. It summarizes what the solution is. So the headline is a benefit-oriented headline. This is what you get when you work with us. This is what our solution delivers to you within your company, with your job title, whatever it is that you're identifying as your ICP. Then you have 3 to 5, no more than 6, okay? 3 to 5 bullet points that are anywhere from 2 words to maybe 5 words or so, 7 words of benefits about the product and the features that relate to each other. So it's okay to mention your features and to be feature rich when you're in your content here, but they should always go back to benefits. And it's also okay to list benefits in this messaging block without features. And that creates curiosity with your prospect. They want to find out more. Well, wow, you're telling me I'm going to get these great, this great communication within my department. You're telling me your software is going to deliver efficiencies within the department, and that we're going to be able to do less work to communicate with each other, keep our projects on track. You can just label those benefits, and then later talk about the features that make that happen. Oh, we have an automated email that goes out when you make comments or change a PDF file or whatever. We have automated Gantt charts that automatically reschedule deadlines and the flow of the project when something gets hung up within the project. So whatever those features are, you can dig into that later. You can touch on it within your message block, but you can dig into it in more detail as people consume more of your content, into your website, your videos, and all of those, the content that you're going to do here. After you develop the different messaging blocks for each of your personas over here, and you should have anywhere between 3 to like maybe 6 at the most messaging blocks that work with these personas. You're going to strategically use those blocks across content, and you're going to use them literally, okay? These become, I think of these as the gold nuggets of messaging. These little blocks are each a gold nugget of your messaging because they're very, very valuable and they work across everything. You're going to put these messaging blocks, for example, on the website, on different locations of your landing page. Your champion messaging block should be on the top third of your web page. It's the first thing people see. It is the appealing benefits that would appeal to anybody within your industry. Your champion block will appear on the website, your advertising, your trade show materials, possibly in a video that you do that maybe explains your whole solution very briefly in a 3-minute video. That's all your top of funnel type of content there. The influencer block, which is a little more specific and appealing maybe a little further down the tunnel as you go into this is MOFU, by the way, that's, middle of funnel, tofu, top of funnel. Okay, so as you move down to that type of content that is the middle of funnel, you might have PDF sheets that are downloaded, or you might have tabs within your website that is on, we'll talk about this later when we get into website strategy, that you'll have a single page, product or solution page, and pack it with information that have it go deep. So you can have tabs on there, you can have accordions on there, maybe a video that is a little more in-depth that shows how your product actually works or the different features that you've been releasing, that type of thing. And then for the detractors, obviously you're going to take their content blocks and work it across your lower funnel content. But it will also be on the website, so it's easy for discovery, okay? So all of these blocks of information are going to be integrated at various places across your website, and ideally on the same page, the same solution page, your landing page on the website. We'll talk about all that stuff later. So the detractor content, the type of bottom of funnel, your BOFU down here, right, can be an FAQ, it could be a downloaded brief. For example, again, back to the example of our IT director as one of your detractors, the information might be a technical diagram that is on a solution brief. So that might be a data sheet or a technical brief that might show the computing environment of your solution and the different, whatever they are, firewalls or security types of protocols or whatever it is that you're using, plus your certifications, things like that. Or it might be something else, like even a video, a technical video that's on your website that they can get to. But you want these messaging blocks and the expanded information that comes along with these blocks to be discoverable easily on the website right up front. Because the sooner this is discovered by the different people within the buyer group, the faster and smoother your deal is going to happen. I hope this makes sense to everyone. You're starting with your personas over here. You are mapping your content to what they are concerned about and what their objectives are. And you're going to find those points as you understand your product better and understand how they appeal to or address the different concerns and requirements of these different personas, and then develop the content that works across all of this matrix here. Now, this sounds like a crap ton of work, okay? But with AI, it goes a lot faster than it ever used to. Because you can take a video, for example, and say a 3-minute video that is an overview of your solution. Take the transcript of that video and have AI create social posts for you. And you could get, 5 or 10 different social posts written by AI, have AI help you. And you would also feed the AI the benefits and features and information about your product also, right? So you're going to feed this information into an AI agent, and the AI agent can help you create the videos, the ads, the web content, all of that content. So what used to take several months for a marketing department to develop, at least within marketing organizations that I have been in on the corporate side and on the agency side, developing all this content over here is a lot of work. It takes months. So typically to create an environment like this might take 6 months, sometimes a year, to create the branded ecosystem. And with AI now, you can create these elements and create this ecosystem infinitely faster within, probably what used to be 12 months, probably within 2 or 3 months, or even faster, using the AI tools that are available now. By the way, all this content is branded. And notice that I'm not recommending that you send out thousands of emails every day. Okay, so for new founders, for you newbies out there, don't do that. Don't send out thousands of emails. You're going to create a branded ecosystem, which is better for your business, and it's better for long-term pipeline. It's better for the speed of your deals to happen than just blasting out like plain text emails or something like that. And I'm going to do a whole video on that later. We'll talk about branding. I hope this makes sense across the board here, where you're taking your different buyer group personas, you're developing the messaging blocks specific to those personas, and then you're creating your branded ecosystem of content that is valuable and reinforces your whole messaging platform. When you follow this framework and this strategy, what happens to all of your content over here? Well, all of your content, 100% of your content is valuable to your audience, to your prospects, because you are mapping that content to their objectives, their pain points, and their responsibilities. How can they not find this content valuable? In the Creative B2B course, I show several examples of this content. HubSpot is one of them. HubSpot does an excellent job of creating newsletters and podcasts that I subscribe to because they're just valuable to me. I like them. They provide valuable strategies and tactics and ideas for different marketing environments, and that's been very valuable to me. So I always look forward to that company's content. Your company needs to do that. Your company needs to get out branded content consistently, week after week after week, to the audience here, especially to the champion, not so much the detractors. Like, don't worry about them right away. Their time will come later. But the champion and even some of the influencers, to get that content out there, to start building a positive brand awareness and positive brand perception. That's what accelerates the deal-making process, trust building, and ultimately your pipeline.